What's going on, everybody? It's your boy at roachdonut coming back at you with another exclusive, man. We doing another reaction. We bringing it, keeping it entertaining, man. I like doing these little history segments, so we gonna do a few minutes on the history of Microsoft, and we may skip through a few things because this video is about 18 minutes. So we'll just get to the hot spots and see what we can do. But I appreciate y'all tapping into the platforms at roachdonut everywhere. You know what's going on. Let's see the history of Microsoft.
There's a lot of people that there'll be software stores just like there are record stores today, and that there'll be thousands and thousands of those. And I think I'd have to agree with that.
Microsoft. Odds are that if you have used a computer, played video games, made a video call, or just gone on the internet, then at some point in your life you have used a Microsoft product. It is this ubiquity of its products in everyday society that has led Microsoft to becoming a trillion-dollar company today. But like with most large companies, this story started out with very humble beginnings. In fact, it started out with a couple of teenagers in high school. This is the story of Microsoft. 1968 Lakeside School, Seattle. 4 teenagers at this school had drawn interest towards their school's new computers. One of these computers was called the Teletype Model 33. They wanted to use this new machine to build computer programs that could potentially allow them to do things like play tic-tac-toe or even make their own class schedules. The trouble was that you needed to rent computer usage time, which was a hefty $40 an hour. So instead of paying that $40 an hour, they decided to exploit some bugs in these computer systems in order to use the computers for free. And for a while, things were great, and these students were able to freely program whatever they wanted. But eventually, the Computer Center Corporation caught them stealing computer usage time, and the company immediately banned these students from using their computer systems.
That's crazy. They came into the game on BS. They like, we getting ready to make these opportunities happen, man. They wasn't playing. These is kids, bro. They like, man, we about to get in here. We about to get this time, and we about to make it happen. Hey, man, I don't condone no bullcrap, but hey, they was kids. We was kids doing bullcrap at one point, man. But it's interesting to see that their desire for computer programming and to develop new software pushed them to a level to like, man, we willing to take the risk. And with any success story comes a risk. Any success story comes with high risk, so you gotta respect it.
The 4 students that were banned were named Kent Evans, Rick Weiland, Paul Allen, and Bill Gates. Soon after they were banned, they decided to form their own group called the Lakeside Programmers Club in order to make some money from their programming abilities while helping companies fix bugs in their computer systems. And the club's first customer was the Computer Center Corporation, the very same company that banned them the previous year for exposing bugs in their computer systems. Several years later, a 17-year-old Bill Gates and a 19-year-old Paul Allen made a new venture together called TrafoData, which used the newest Intel processor to turn raw traffic data into comprehensive and easy-to-read reports. The business didn't last very long because Bill Gates left to Harvard University to enroll in a pre-law program, and Paul Allen left for Washington State University to pursue a computer science degree. In 1975, Popular Electronics magazine featured a new computer called the Altair 8800 microcomputer. This was a revolutionary product that was viewed as the first commercially successful personal computer. Now, both Paul Allen and Bill Gates had caught a glimpse of the Altair issue of the Popular Electronics magazine. So the two called each other up and discussed making a basic programming language interpreter for the computer. And soon after this call ended, they ended up talking to the inventors of the Altair, who were MITS, where Gates and Allen claimed to have a working interpreter for the computer ready to go, even though this wasn't true at all. But MITS was quite interested and wanted this interpreter. So Gates immediately started working on the interpreter while Paul Allen built a simulator for the interpreter. On the way to presenting their product to MITS, the boot-up system for the interpreter still wasn't ready, so the last bit of code was actually written on the way to the meeting with MITS. And by the time they arrived at the meeting with MITS, they still hadn't run a full test of the interpreter that they had just built. So during the actual meeting, they ran their first full test where it worked perfectly. After the meeting, MIT...
Man, so they was winging it. They like, man, we got an opportunity. We're going to push this opportunity to the next level. That's a blessing right there. These are some smart kids, man. They going to Harvard. They going to law school. They doing big things. You know what I'm saying? They had drive and passion, man. The innovators of that time, you know what I'm saying? Pretty dope.
MITS agreed to sell Gates and Allen's interpreter product as Altair Basic.
And the same company that they did the thingies with, they came back like, oh, these are some smart kids. They not on bunk. They just trying to find a way. How can we get linked in with them? You know, that's beautiful thing right there. That saved their future. You know what I'm saying?
Little did the two college students know that this would be the very first product that was created by their newly named company called Microcomputer Software, known today as Microsoft. Over the next couple of years, the success of the Altair Basic made Microsoft a multi-million-dollar company. In 1980, Microsoft's revenue was nearing $30 million when they decided to open up their first international office in Japan. A year later, Gates and Allen began negotiating with the giant of the computer industry, IBM, in order to try and make Microsoft the main operating system on IBM's upcoming personal computer. Both sides agreed to a deal, but there was a problem. Once again, Gates and Allen did not have an operating system ready before making the actual deal. So what they ended up doing was buying out a standard operating system from a local computer company called Seattle Computer Products. And they bought this operating system for $75,000 and promised to pay a small royalty to the company as well. The operating system that Microsoft had bought from Seattle Computer Products was called 86-DOS, which was quickly renamed by Microsoft to MS-DOS. About a year later, in 1981, IBM launched its personal computer, which became an immediate success and made MS-DOS the dominant operating system in the world. And Microsoft didn't just license its operating system to IBM. It also licensed the operating system to over 70 other computer companies, including Compaq Computers. The only real computer...
They was beating out big company. I'm talking, man, dude, this is a true success story of entrepreneurship, man.
Computer company that didn't use MS-DOS at the time was another medium-sized startup computer company run by two other young men. That company was Apple Computers. Now, the dominance of MS-DOS ended up propelling Microsoft's revenue and valuation. However, there was one major setback. In 1983, just as Microsoft passed 1 million installs of MS-DOS, Paul Allen was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma and decided to leave the company. Allegedly, Bill Gates thought that Allen's stock in Microsoft should be diluted at the time because he was not working hard enough and would no longer be able to contribute to the company. Regardless, Gates didn't have too much time to focus on problems outside of Microsoft, as the company was working on a word processing program called Word, a spreadsheet program called Excel, and a graphical user interface called Windows. Now, in 1983, Apple was the only major computer company that had a graphical user interface for its computers, and Microsoft knew they...
It's always been Apple and Microsoft. Ain't that something? They always been the top dogs, man. For the right reasons, man. I feel like that they push innovation and they're always looking for the next thing. And I think that I think customer service is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? They compete. They compete for them customers. They compete to supply the best products for the customer. I mean, everybody has used both products, but this is a Microsoft focused video right here. Shout out to Microsoft, Fortify, St. Joseph, all these organizations combined together and help me. So I want to watch a few more minutes of this because, or at least a little bit more of them because Microsoft came forward. And I love their products. I actually have a Microsoft laptop. I'm using Windows 11 on this PC, and they run pretty good. I got an AirPod in my ear, and I love them too. But I want a focal point, Microsoft. So let's skip up a little bit.
and Bill Gates, who was now the chief software architect.
It's crazy how Bill Gates still look the same, bro. Even to this day, he still look like that. Shout out to Bill, man.
Microsoft launched the Xbox, Windows XP, and the programming language.
Oh, you know about that Xbox right there. I had me an Xbox 360 back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Xbox. You know what I'm saying? I still love Xbox. Only, unfortunately, on a PC, it's kind of hard to use like Xbox, like, you know, the Xbox game, PC gaming. It's kind of hard to use for some reason. But when I get in there, I'm locked in on the Ultimate Game Pass right now. So it's pretty cool, man.
Languages, .NET, and C#, which are used to program many websites and modern-day video games. At this point, Microsoft seemed invincible and had their hands in nearly every industry, except one: the mobile phone. Now, today you are probably using a phone that is either running on iOS or Android. And these operating systems are relatively new and weren't really created up until 2007 and 2008. But way back in 2003, Microsoft launched its mobile operating system that was called Windows Mobile. And at the time, people were predicting that Microsoft could potentially start a monopoly.
I never used a Windows phone, and I would imagine that it runs pretty good because Windows is just like the operating systems that they use, and their products run pretty good, real good. Like, I can see why they at the top, because every Windows product I ever had, and this is not cap, like even with this I'm using right now, it run good, bro. I don't know what it is. They figure something out, but it's running pretty good. Let's skip up a little bit.
And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
The iPhone was released in 2007 and immediately took the world by storm. And for the first time in nearly 3 decades, Microsoft no longer had the most popular operating system in the world, nor did it have the most popular web browser in the world. This was because the likes of iOS, Android, Safari, and Google Chrome had entered the industry during that time. Now, Microsoft eventually tried to release its own smartphone in 2010 called the Windows Phone. However, they were 3 years too late, and the market was already saturated, so the phone was discontinued. Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer called missing the smartphone market as their biggest regret in business. However, they were able to create other products during that time. For example, they released Windows Vista, Windows 7, Bing, Xbox 360, Xbox Live, Microsoft Surface, Microsoft Outlook, and Microsoft Azure. They also acquired some big companies at the time like Skype and Nokia. Now, when 2013 came around, Microsoft was still worth hundreds of billions of dollars, but it was becoming more of a backseat thought to the other tech companies like Google, Apple, Facebook, Netflix, and Amazon. It was at this point that Steve Ballmer decided.
I think that, like, where Microsoft is at right now, I don't think Microsoft will ever go anywhere. I think that if they can expand in the AI space, because they've been linked up with open AI and doing ChatGPT type stuff, and I think they got Bing AI. If they can expand on that, I think like a rebrand would work for them. I already proposed a rebrand to them. Like, I think a rebrand would be like the best thing that can happen for Microsoft right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody can interfere or stop that. I think a rebrand, a new product, and, you know, like really like pushing that rebrand could really put Microsoft like through the moon. But, you know, it's not my business. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, if I was them, I probably would rebrand, because everybody is used to the Windows. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the operating system. I'm saying like the brand itself. You know what I'm saying? If they do something a little different, you know what I'm saying? Like I was telling them, Copilot. You know what I mean? Rebranding as a Copilot company or something like that, and then really, you know what I'm saying, pushing that line and pushing that Copilot brand line, like it'll be cold. You know what I'm saying? They can really do something. They always gonna be a legendary company. They always gonna bring the dough in. They always gonna have influence, because every computer, it's either Apple or Windows, bro. It's Apple, Windows, is the alphabets, really, but it's Apple, Windows, and Google. You know what I'm saying? When you break it down to what we use, that's what we use. You know what I'm saying? Like, And I don't think necessarily that'll ever change. I just think that it'll reinvent itself. And it'll be new companies, but I'm just saying, for these companies, the big ones, Apple, Google, Microsoft, in order for them to transcend to the next level, they're gonna have to rebrand. That's the only thing I can see, because we're gonna get tired of them. You know what I'm saying? If they don't, then it's over.
To step down as CEO and appoint Satya Nadella as the new CEO of the company. And right after he became CEO, the company decided to purchase a gaming company called Mojang, who are the creators of Minecraft. The company also decided to purchase the programming platform GitHub, as well as the social network LinkedIn. Now, during all of these acquisitions, Satya was laser focused on one part of Microsoft's business: cloud computing. You see, Microsoft Azure has grown at an insane rate over the last few years, like really insane. There have actually been some quarters where Azure has grown 100% in sales. And it is the growth of Azure that has made Microsoft one of the leading cloud computing companies in the world, behind Amazon. Because of the success of Azure along with Microsoft's other businesses, Microsoft was able to reclaim the title of the most valuable company in the
All these big companies, if you don't know, all these big companies own servers. They got their own native servers, their own, like their domestic server systems where they can control their own data. I'm not speaking on conspiracies. Like, I don't care about conspiracies. Oh, they're controlling. I don't see things like that. I see things as opportunity. All of these big companies have server control. They can monitor, manipulate, utilize these sources and streams of information from searches and inquiries that we put in. They can utilize that information and monetize it. That's how these companies work. So if when you see these big companies, they have the ability. Once again, this is a conspiracy. I'm not putting in a bad seed. I'm speaking on how business works. This is how it works. All of these big companies you see have their own servers where they can disperse this information and monetize it in a package, and they can get a product to you. And you got 10 million searches, we're all seeing the same thing. They can predict, that's why they were able to see COVID. You know what I'm saying? All of these things don't just come from anywhere. You know what I mean? These searches can tell you what's on the horizon, what could happen. So you have to be very knowledgeable of the information that you search for, the things that you do on the internet, because this is all utilized. That's why it's such a war on data privacy. You know what I mean? So you have to be conscious and knowledgeable of how these companies make money. So that's just a little gem for you.
The world in 2019. But it hasn't all been positive news. Paul Allen resigned from the board of Microsoft in 2000 and hadn't really spent too much time at Microsoft past this date.
Hey, bro, listen, this is 2 times I done seen them wearing the drip. That coat, this corduroy coat that Paul got on, I'm sure that's him. And he had a gold one on, like. And then Bill, he got the green John on. That was what he was rocking back then with the button popped open. I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it.
However, he did have several other business ventures apart from Microsoft. Like in 1997, he bought a young startup company called Ticketmaster. He also invested several $1 billion into real estate and purchased the Portland Trail Blazers and Seattle Seahawks, all of which...
These individuals are very smart, bro. That's what people don't understand. I'm not talking about conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? It's not about conspiracy and hatred and culture. It's not about that. It's just about mindset. Like when they get money, they put money in places where it can make more. They put it in places to where they can see their bread work for them. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're gazillionaires. That's why you got a roast donut brand. That's why, because I'm learning from the tricks of the trade of these people, or the people I learned from when I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? That the smart ones, they took what they had and they used it to make it work for them. And that's, you know what I'm saying, that's a whole different topic. But hey, man, this is at Roast Donut on all platforms. Thank y'all for tuning in. We're getting ready to get up out of here. This was the history of Microsoft. I wanted to show much love to Microsoft because they showed love to me, provided me with a great opportunity in my life. And I've seen a lot of fruit come from that labor. You know what I'm saying? When they came forward, they helped my brand out. It increased the value of my brand so much. And I want to shout out to them. And that's much love, man. At Roast Donut on all platforms. You know what's going on. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let's get it.